To the average viewer, these are nothing but starter decks. But to those that know, you already know that these are tools that will be used to make a very, very important decision. Ladies and gentlemen, have you picked a side yet? It is actually possible to choose both, by the way. You're not actually forbidden from choosing both sides. But welcome everyone. Today we're going to be opening up the remaining two start decks that are released in the Japanese format, which are the Megumi for Stoicheia and Tomari for Brandt Gate. So of course, this is continuing the line of 333 yen start decks that they are releasing, which will be $4 MSRP in English. So we're still just a bit over a month away until the release date of these in English, but I've already been playtesting a lot. We already know basically the entirety of the first booster set as well, so we can already play with the upgraded versions of these decks, which is very, very nice. But let's actually take a look at the starter deck products and how they look just from the box themselves, and you know how competitive they actually are. So I'm gonna save the best for last. My best girl definitely gets kept for later. We're gonna look at, of course, Megumi's Stoicheia first. So on the packaging, we see the Stoicheia logo right there, so you can see what it looks like. Once again, my cat scratched me, so don't mind my hand. And here, of course, on the back, we have the list of cards in the actual product, as well as the two new gimmicks, which are the ride deck and overtrigger. So they really use the overtrigger to advertise the new series. And yeah, you can always follow them on Twitter and watch the official Vanguard channel for more information. Actually upload fights and stuff on there as well. So of course, Megumi, the Noelle lookalike from Blaze Blue, looks very nice, and of course her main boss unit is Magnolia, so a little bit of a Great Nature style. But as always, let's actually open up this product and see what's inside. So just like last time, we can open up these little peels here, and then we're gonna be able to just like slide everything out. Unfortunately, they already revealed the English packaging in one of the trailers, and it looks like we will not have the same one as the Japanese one, which is a bit unfortunate. But I guess in order to reach that $4 MSRP, they gotta, they can't be pimping it out too hard, I guess, with the way things are in the West. So there's different costs involved and things like that sadly don't make all the same things possible between English Vanguard and Japanese Vanguard, but nevertheless it's still cool. So these three things just like peel off, and we flip it over and just basically undress the starter deck. We remove the bottom and then remove this, and then there you go. Here is your start deck with a playmat attached. So of course, off the back we have the usual playmat. I already showed this in the previous video where we opened the first three, but it's just your basic playmat with all the zones that you would expect to be on it. So we're going to set that aside, and let's take a look at the actual starter deck product. So of course, this is a deck of 50 cards, includes all kinds of various cards. Actually uploaded, if you're still looking at how to learn the game, I'll probably do like a video, like a tutorial video of like a fight where we explain how the game works while fighting. But Bouchard actually uploaded a very nice tutorial video on their own channel that I recommend you watch. I'll leave a link in the description. But anyway, let's take a look at the Stoicheia start deck in Japanese. Still a month away from the English release. All right, so let's actually zoom in a little bit so we have a bit of a up close view. So first things first, we have the boss unit, which is Magnolia. So she's a grade 3, looking very nice with that foiling as well. And so the effect is Vanguard Circle. At the end of the battle, it attacks, counter +1, and choose one of your rear guards, and for that turn, give it plus 5,000 power and the ability to attack from the back row. So basically this deck enables you to attack from the back row. So you get more attacks than any other deck, because her other skill says if you Persona Road this turn, you can choose 3 rear guards instead of 1. And so Persona Riding is obviously when you ride the same exact card over itself to basically give your front row a plus 10,000 buff and draw an extra card. So basically by Persona Riding, you get to pump up your board even more, not just with power, but also with the ability to attack multiple times. You can even choose to like give that power to your front row units instead, and only still give one thing in the back row the attack, because then you won't be able to boost with them anymore. Or you can, but you would choose to attack then. So very cool unit, very cool gimmick as well. So of course you get 4 copies of it in a starter deck in order to not have to buy multiples, which is very, very nice. All right, moving on, we have the Latias. So Latias here also 4 times. This is the grade 2 of the ride line, so also a very nice art. His effect is when you ride Magnolia over it, which is our boss unit, then you get to Soul Blast 1 and look at the top card of your deck and reveal it. If it is a unit card, so a unit card is like this, then you can call it, and if it is not, then you put it into your hand. So basically if it's an order card, then you put it into your hand. And then back row Regard Circle, and this unit attacks the opponent's Vanguard, Soul Blast 1 to give it plus 10k power. So again, you enable those back row attacks with Magnolia, and then cards like this get to actually get extra power from it. So we get 4 copies of that as well. And then of course everyone's favorite jailed unit, Caris, or as we've called him, Bulbalax. So why do we call him Bulbalax? Because he looks like a Snorlax with Bulbasaur's like bulbs on the back, so that's why we call him Bulblax, but his real name is Karis. So his skill is when you ride the Lattice over it, so the grade 2, you get to reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a grade 2 or lower unit card, then you call it, and if it is not, you put it into your soul. So as you notice, like some effects in this deck use up Soul Blast, such as, you know, Lattice's one, and so getting that soul is actually not too bad either. Otherwise, you just get to call something, which is also very nice. And his other skill is back row rearguard circle. When he attacks, gets plus 5k power. So 13k attacker, that's quite nice because, you know, when you attack a grade 3 unit, attacking with 13 means they have to guard with 5k. So that's also very nice that it gains 5k instead of like 3 or 2. So also 4 times in the deck, as it is a very important piece of the deck. And of course, the starting Vanguard, the Lotte. So this one has the same skill as all of the other starting Vanguards. When you ride over it and you're going second, you draw an extra card. So very nice as well. Now, which other cards do we have as supporting pieces? Well, we have this 10k Vanilla. I really like his art. He's like a stag beetle, I think, in a suit with a cool looking sword. I respect that. So we get him a total of 3 times. This will be replaced because he doesn't have any effect and like doesn't have any extra shield or anything. So it is a card you're looking to take out once you open the booster set. Then we have the Dugar. So this guy is, if you have 4 or more other rear guards, he gets plus 5k power. So 15k attacker if you have a full board, which is also very nice. We do get him 4 times. I think he actually does stay in the deck after the booster set drops. I've been testing it already. Then this is the Rooting Petal Stomalia. So Calmas 1 Soul Blast 1 once per turn act skill. For that turn, this unit gains boost and plus 5k power. So again, this is a grade 2 that can boost with 15k power. That's actually quite decent. So you also get her 4 times, but from my experience, she doesn't actually stay in the deck. But at least that's from my testing. Then we have the Silas. Once per turn, rearguard circle, Soul Blast 2 to reveal the top card of your deck. And if it's a unit card, you can call it. If it is not, add it to your hand. So I think this card, Soul Blast 2 is a little bit too expensive for this deck. Otherwise, it's very, very good because, you know, you get to call the top card and everything. But Soul Blast 2 in a deck that already Soul Blasts a lot does hurt a little bit. Get him 4 times though, but I think he won't make the cut purely because there isn't enough, you know, soul charging in this deck to make that be a consistent skill you can use. We have the grade 1 Perfect Guard, of course, 4 times as well. So very nice. Perfect Guard skills are always good. We have the regular Orubaria Overtrigger. So of course, Overtriggers give it plus 100 million power when checked and get removed from the game instantly. So whether as defense, as damage, or whether as like a drive check. And the additional skill when you check this on your drive check is to apply another 100 million power to one of your units. So even, you know, like some people say that in Stoicheia, you actually want to run this instead of the Stoicheia one because having an extra unit gain 100 million is better than like healing, critting, fronting, and drawing, I guess, because that's what the Stoicheia one does. But I think it's, you know, that's a debate to be had, something to be tested. Of course, we have the critical trigger, looks very beautiful, so 4 copies as well. Over triggers are only 1 per deck, so of course that's only there once. We have 4 of the draw trigger here as well, nice little squirrel. Then we have 3 of the monkey front trigger. So front triggers power up your entire front row. If you're a returning player, realize that returning players, well, you don't know what front triggers are. Then we have heal triggers, also very beautiful. We have this like elk. And then the order card of this deck is the, I think it's like Call of the Beasts or something like that. So this one is a blitz order, which means they use it during your opponent's turn. How do you know it's a blitz order? Here it says blitz order, the little red text. So a blitz order is a defensive card. So you use it during your opponent's turn when your opponent is attacking you. So basically like guarding. And it's grade 2, so you can only use it when you're on grade 2 or higher. This guy's skill is that when you're being attacked, you can choose, you can like guard with this or activate it basically, and choose a unit for that battle, give it plus 5,000 power. But if you have 3 or more back row rear guards, you give 15,000 power instead. So it's basically 15,000 shield if you have a full back row, or 5,000 shield if you have just, you know, not a full back row. So it's actually a pretty cool card, and I definitely like that they brought back blitz orders as like a mainstay for all these decks. And as we saw in the main booster set, they are definitely mainstays because every single nation actually got 1 or 2, and that is definitely very nice. And Stoicheia is definitely the one that got the most amount of orders because their other deck is also very order based. But even this deck, Magnolia, is very, very nice. Like this deck is, I at first thought this would be a super aggressive deck, but honestly, playing it more slow paced and like just multi-attacking and making like strong numbers is really good. Like this deck definitely rewards you for careful calculation and being able to execute the most amount of attacks while also making sure that you don't just like your attacks don't get shut down by your opponent checking a trigger in their, you know, in their damage check. So I think it's a really, really nice deck, and overall definitely feels like it's going to be pretty strong. Some people say it has issues with their, you know, managing Counterblast and Soul Blast, but there is an order card that released in the main booster set that you can use to potentially help fix those issues that I think is worth playing around with. But that is the Magnolia start decks. Now let's take a look at Brandt Gate. All right, so now is my best girl time. So of course, let's zoom out real quick while we open this up. So this is the Brandt Gate one, which is played by Tomari, by far my favorite character. She's a commentator, also a policewoman. So of course, you know, she is all about the law and order while also bringing hype commentary. So I definitely jive with her for that reason. And her deck is Brandt Gate. So Brandt Gate is comprised of Dimension Police, Nova Grappler, and Link Joker as clans. And so there's a lot of those kind of mechanics in there and those kind of like art styles, and like you can expect some robots in there. Here is the logo for Brandt Gate as well. Looks very nice. And of course the back is once again the same as usual, you know, the list of cards and how many copies of each you get. You know, got the logo up here as well. And yeah, so let's just get cracking. This is the police deck basically, or battle princesses I think they're called, and it definitely plays a little bit differently and introduces one different order type that we have not seen so far, which are set orders, which if you played Yu-Gi-Oh are kind of like field spells, let's just say. So permanent like orders that stay on the board for the entirety of the game. And so we're going to probably look at that first before we look at anything else in this deck, because the grade 3, you know, the boss unit might look very beautiful because she is, you're absolutely correct in that, but they all function around one certain set order, which is actually called a prison. So you quite literally in this deck put your opponent's cards into a prison. All right, so just undo the seals there like that, and now we can open it all up. So of course first we lower this and then we take this off and it just comes out just like that. I love the color scheme of it as well. The black, the kind of like light cherry red, as well as the vanilla color. Very nice. And then of course we open this up and the deck just comes out just like that. Once again, let's just zoom in real quick so we can take a little good look at the cards. So take off the protective film and let's get into it. So Brandt Gate, by far my favorite nation as well. Before we look at the actual cards here, I want to take a look at the set order. This one is very important for understanding the deck. So this is an order card and it is a set order and it is called Galactraz or Galactulus. So it is a prison. You can see here this looks to be a monkey, robot monkey trapped in a prison. So what is a set order? This is a grade 1 and it says in order, when you play a set order, it goes in your order zone. So just above your damage zone is something called your order zone. And to play this card, you have to rest one of your units. So it can be your Vanguard or your Rear Guard, and then you play it. So when you play it, it just stays on the board for the entire game. When you play this card in your order zone, you soul charge 3. So you get 3 soul immediately. And then it has an effect which says in the order zone, when you're during any time in the your opponent could normally call units, they can choose to do the following: Soul Blast 1 to choose a card in the prison and call it to Rear Guard Circle, or Counterblast 1 and choose 2 cards in the prison and call them. So what you do in this deck is you imprison your opponent's units in your own set order, and then your opponent can pay tax to free the homies. So they can Soul Blast 1 to free 1 homie, or they can Counterblast 1 to free 2 homies. And so it's literally just like a prison that traps your opponent's units in it, and your opponent has to pay tax to get them out. So we get 2 copies of this, and I think 2 copies is actually a good amount because you have a way to search it out very early, which we'll get into soon, but it's a very important card. So keep it in mind as we look at, like, through all these cards. So the main grade 3 is Seraph Snow. So her effect is, during your turn, if you have one of your opponent's cards imprisoned in your prison, this unit gets plus 10k power. If you have 3 or more, then she also gets plus 1 drive. So of course, grade 3s, when they attack on the Vanguard Circle, they do a twin drive to check 2 cards, but she checks 3. So that's also very, very nice. And then Vanguard Rear Guard Circle once per turn skill, Counterblast 1, choose 2 of your opponent's Rear Guards and imprison them in your prison. So basically, you get to Counterblast 1 and imprison 2 things, already giving you the extra power. If you manage to imprison 1 more card, then you get the extra drive check as well. So of course, we get 4 copies of her because she is the main grade 3. So of course, very, very nice. We get the grade 2, which is the reset. So the Battle Princess Reset Pink. So she says, when placed on Vanguard Circle, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and puts it in their prison. So of course, you know, you basically just take a card out of their hand and instantly just trap it in your prison. But the next turn, of course, they can pay Soul Blast 1 to free it, or Counterblast 1 to free 2 cards. So it's pretty okay effect, but sadly, you know, it's just for that turn, for essentially, because your opponent can get it back. And another skill is, if you have 1 card or more imprisoned in your prison, then she gets plus 2000 power. So not really a great effect. She does stay as a 1-of in the right deck, but don't really play more of her than that. However, you do play many copies of this, which is the Kiruna Blue. So her skill is, when she's placed on Vanguard Circle, you get to search your deck for a prison card and reveal it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So you instantly, by just writing this on turn 1, get to search out the prison, which is really nice. So why do we play 2? Simply because if you open this in your opening hand, you still want to be able to, you know, gain advantage from riding this. So you want to search out the second one and then maybe discard the second one for a perfect guard or for the ride deck. So really good skill already, but on a reguard circle, when she's placed, if you have at least one card imprisoned in your prison, you can count +1, soul +1 to draw a card. We really like drawing cards because if you draw more cards, you draw into more attackers, more defenders, etc. And of course, a starter, the Ruby Blue, when you ride over her, if you're going second, you draw 1. So same effect as every other starter. Then here come the robots. Of course, this looks like Patlaber, I think that's what the series was called. So just a police robot. When his attack hits the Vanguard, you choose 2 of your opponent's rear guards and imprison them. So just like that, you have like hit pressure. This card does get replaced by cards in the booster set that do not need to hit. Overall, like on hit effects, like they're nice pressure, but they're definitely not that useful compared to something like this, which is the Security Patroller. So he's a great 2. Also, no, this is the Palabor one. Sorry, this is the Palabor one. So when he's placed on rearguard circle, Soul Blast 1 and choose an opponent's rearguard and imprison it in your prison. So just like that, you know, you can count +1 with a grade 3 to imprison 2, and then call him, Soul Blast 1, imprison 1 more, and there you go. You have 3. Just make sure, you know, if your opponent doesn't call 3, then tough luck, right? And then of course we have Juelion. So this is the super robot. Looks very, very nice, but of course just a vanilla, so he will be replaced. Then we have the Autonomic Caution. So this card says, if you have a card imprisoned in your prison, this when placed on rearguard circle or guardian circle, this unit gains +2000 power and 5000 shield. So you can either use it as like a 10k attacker or booster, or use it as a 10,000 power or 10,000 shield defender. So it's not a bad card. I personally don't play it anymore, but I feel like this might stay in some people's deck lists, but I personally feel that there's a lot of other good cards you want to be playing instead. Then of course 4 of the perfect guards. It's like a kaiju, so looks very cool, very nice art as well. And then of course the All Barrier, so the usual over trigger. We already went over it this video, so nothing too special there. In terms of other triggers, we have 4 of the critical trigger. This is the Lurus Yellow, something like that, I think. Then we have the draw trigger 4 times as well. The Amy Orange, also very nice. Then the front trigger, this is a new one that got revealed quite recently, which is the Fronte Rose. So Fronte Rose, I think that might be her name. Looks very nice though, very nice art. Really, really love this one. And the heal trigger finally is the Trish Green or Turish Green, so 4 times of course, and that is a deck. So we already went over the set order earlier. So this deck is basically, it's actually quite easy to play because all you need to do is, like, you know, your opponent has to play down cards for you to imprison, and you basically get to profit off of that, and then you make your opponent pay tax to get their stuff out, which is very nice against especially certain decks like, you know, the one we just looked at, Stoicheia. They Soul Blast and Counter Blast for their effects a lot, so just adding a little bit of Soul Blast or Counter Blast to those effects can make it very, very hard for your opponent to actually play their deck normally, which is something that you want, right? It's like a control deck, so if you like control playstyles and other card games, you will love this deck. But yeah, so that is the Seraph White, the Battle Princesses from Brandt Gate. So what did you think? So these are the final 2 start decks in the Japanese format. Of course, in English, all 5 will be releasing at the same time, but these decks are also very, very fun and just really cool to play as well. I personally really enjoy Brandt Gate overall. I've been playing it by far the most from all the decks with the updated D Booster Set 1 support. So this is really an amazing time to start Vanguard. And of course, for those of you just getting into the game, you know, there'll be a lot of content on this channel to help you get started, you know, make decisions, you know, not just like which deck to pick, but also like, you know, which cards you actually need from the booster set to support these ones. And if you don't like the 5 starter decks, there's actually 5 more decks that are introduced in the first booster set that maybe have like an aesthetic or a playstyle that you like even more. So you can try out Vanguard, try out overdress with these start decks, but you can always build something else that is in the booster set. But if you do like the start deck ones, then you can upgrade them with the contents of the booster set as well. Anyway, that's all that I really wanted to talk about today. Of course, if you still need to pick up overdress products, you can check out parkcage.com, use discount code DifferentFight for 5% discount at checkout. You can still pick up the start decks there as well. You can even pick up a special bundle where you get all 5 starter decks as well as the first booster set, a box of the first booster set in one special bundle. So if you'd like to just try a little bit of everything, maybe try it out with your friends, then feel free to pick up that one. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.